Yes guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. In today's video, how to maintain all your muscle in a cut, how to get to the end of your deficit, how to create a lean physique without losing muscle. Again, this is a question I get all the time, so let's dive into it. So if you know me and you know what I'm all about building the complete physique, being lean, being muscular, not being a big blockhead monster, not being so shredded that you can't get a boner, just being happy and having a great physique. And the key is, guys, is to do everything in moderation. So when we talk about maintaining all of our muscle, the number one priority in a fat loss phase is to maintain as much muscle as possible. Why? Because this will maintain your metabolism, help you maintain lean mass, help you eat more food. If you can eat more food in your deficit, you tend to stick to the deficit and you're probably not going to rebound afterwards. Because remember, the goal isn't to get lean. The goal is to stay there. And you're in a gaining phase, you want to stay lean. Once you diet down, you want to stay lean. And eventually you get to a point where I'm at, where you kind of just maintain like a 11, 12%, I'm trying to see myself, 10 to 12% body fat year round, okay? Not shredded, not massive, somewhere in the middle. So first things first, rule number one with maintaining as much muscle as you can in a deficit, which it can be done, is you need to be in a small calorie deficit, okay? So if you're trying to get yourself absolutely shredded in 6 weeks and you slash your calories to 1400, goodbye to your muscle, goodbye to body fat, yes, goodbye to muscle. When you stop your diet, hello body fat, good, no muscle, okay? Whatever your maintenance is, guys, sit very, very, a very small amount below. If you maintain your body weight at 2800 calories, start your deficit at 2700 calories or keep it at 2800 calories and increase your cardio and steps. We want to lose fat on the most amount of food possible. Yeah, let me say that again. The goal is to lose fat on the most amount of food possible. You don't have a maintenance of 2800, take yourself down to 2000, do 4 hours of cardio a week, train 6 days a week, push-pull legs. It's too much too soon. You cannot maintain it. If you can't maintain it, you can't sustain it. Don't be an idiot. Don't listen to everyone else. Please, I'm trying to help you. I've done everything right and I've done everything wrong and I've helped hundreds of people. Listen to me, okay? A very moderate deficit for as long as possible. We know that a 6-week intense fat loss phase where you slash your calories by 1500 isn't going to help you when it comes to maintaining the lean physique with muscle, okay? If we can take ourselves for a 12, 16, 20 week cut with only a very small amount of muscle, don't say that, with only a very small deficit, you're going to maintain so much more muscle. You're also going to enjoy it so much more. But because those calories are high, your training stays good, okay? If you take yourself from 100 kilos to 80 kilos and all of your lifts nosedive, what happens to your muscle? If you're bench pressing 100 kilos for 10 at 100 kilos and you get down to 85 kilos and you can still bench press 100 for 10, your pecs will still be there. If you drop it down and you're benching 60 for 10 because you increased your reps or your deficit was so hard you weren't recovering, so you're doing so much cardio and you're fasting all day, you won't keep muscle. Whatever built your muscle will keep your muscle. So that slow, moderate deficit is the first thing. A good amount of time is the second thing, as long as possible, okay? Which means you might have to be a little bit more dedicated and disciplined than usual. It's where most people struggle with. The third thing is you need to maintain as much strength as possible. And you can sue me if I'm wrong. If you do a 12 to 16 week deficit with a very, very moderate drop in calories, I still think you should be getting stronger over time if you're smart with your programming and you run a 3-day training plan or a 4-day training plan, which by the way is all I ever talk about in my course below. Little shameless plug there. If you're 100 kilos, yeah, and you diet down to 85 kilos and your bench press stays the same or goes up a little bit, your weighted chin-ups, your dips, your heavy presses, heavy rows, your squats and deadlifts all stay the same, your physique's going to look better. You're probably going to have even more muscle. Plus, you're way stronger from a body weight to strength ratio, okay? Remember that. So that means as we get deeper into a deficit, if you're trying to get really lean, you might have to get a bit deeper into a deficit, okay? Which means eventually calories are obviously going to have to come down a little bit. Cardio is going to have to come up a little bit. Steps are going to come up a little bit. And it is normal to have some fatigue along the way. But this is why it's so important to Drag this out as long as possible, okay? Now, in terms of maintaining your strength, obviously we have the traditional 3 sets of 10 to 12 or whatever. You can still do your 3 sets. The way I would run it always is, let's take that bench press, for example, whilst we're here. Okay, you might do your first set of 8 to 10 reps or 6 to 8 reps. Write down what you did. Your second set might be 8 to 10, third set might be 10 to 12, or an 8 to 10, 10 to 12, 12 to 15, okay? Your goal from the start of your diet to the end of your diet is to maintain the numbers, maintain your strength, which means give yourself as much rest in between sets as you need. Don't put a 1-minute timer on, okay? Don't go into a set still fatigued. What do you think happens when you go to a set fatigued? You're not going to lift as much. This is why I don't like CrossFit for building muscle. What do you think? Do you think if you go from a clean and press and then go and do 50 burpees and then go back to your clean and press, you're going to be able to maintain your numbers? Or high rocks, you know, do a heavy press, then go and run 1K and then go do a heavy press again. What's going to happen to the fucking press? And so same with your muscle, okay? And again, like people, when they're trying to get lean, they start doing crazy amounts of cardio, high rocks, CrossFit. What about strength training to actually keep your muscle? What about resting properly in between sets? All of this stuff is so important, and it just goes out the window when people are trying to get lean. Take as long as you need in between sets, okay? Sometimes, if you're more advanced, the 3 sets that I was speaking about, where you go 8 to 10, 10 to 12, 12 to 15 or whatever, that might become 2 working sets. You'll see that it's very popular, that heavy set, back off set. It works, especially in a deficit. If I go in there and I just do a heavy max effort set on bench for 8 reps, max effort set, rest 2-3 minutes, however long I need, drop the weight down 10, 15, 20%, a max effort set of 12 to 15 reps, that's all I need. That's all I need to kind of maintain the size of my pecs, trust me. You do not then need to go and do 15 different flies, bench dips, push-ups to failure, clapping push-ups, all of this shit. No, you just need to stay strong at the main lifts. The main lifts that built the muscle you have, keep your strength there, okay? Another thing we need to talk about when it comes to maintaining muscle, I just want to run it back to that very moderate deficit that I said, or even keeping calories at maintenance and then starting the deficit with more cardio and more steps, okay? Because you're going to have plenty of energy. Your maintenance calories are no longer your maintenance calories if you then start doing 20 minutes of cardio 5 times a week and take your steps from 8K to 12K. You've put yourself into a deficit without decreasing calories. Winning. Not bad, huh? Not a bad issue to have. In terms of protein, you always hear about 1 gram per pound of body weight. Pretty standard. When you get into a deficit and you're trying to maintain muscle, it's okay to increase this slightly. 1.2 grams, maybe 1.3 grams. Don't be ridiculous and bring your protein up to the moon. You don't need to do it. But a slight increase in protein is going to help you reserve lean mass, and also it's going to help you to feel more full and make the deficit slightly easier. This is a big thing that people miss, okay? Another thing I want to talk about when it comes to maintaining tissue is get lean, don't get shredded, okay? If I diet down to this body composition, I can maintain all my muscle, okay? I'm not super big and I'm not super lean. If I try and take 3 or 4 kilos off this and get shredded, my calories have to get too low. My training suffers, my sleep suffers, everything suffers, the enjoyment of training suffers, and you'll end up losing more muscle. The leaner you get, the harder it is to maintain muscle past a certain point. So aim for that 10 to 12% body fat range. That's where you want to be. You don't want to be anywhere below 10% unless you are competing or making weight for like a fighting or anything like that. Guys, if you want all of this stuff broken down in way more detail, I've dropped a course below called The Complete Physique, where I go over everything from reverse dieting, training, lifts, all of the 3-day plan and 4-day plans are all in there. You can just load them up into your phone. If you don't want to get it, it's all good. No stress. See you in the next one.